Hey, what's up guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to learn about how to add this cool typewriting effect with vanilla JavaScript. In the previous video, we have created a carousel image slider with Swiper.js. In case if you have missed them, I'll put the link on the description so you can check that out after watching today's video. In today's video, we're going to learn about how to add this cool typewriting effect with vanilla JavaScript. You can see I have a static text, IMA, then we have some text with typewriting effect. We keep adding words and keep removing the words after completing the word, and the words are also changing. First it is developer, YouTuber, then blogger. So this is a very good project for a beginner. So if you are interested, please like, share and subscribe to my channel to see more of these project based videos. So without further ado, let's get started. Let me give you a quick introduction of mine. My name is Anjan. I'm a full stack web developer who can develop complex web applications from UI to backend systems. You can watch my work by visiting my portfolio website thatanjan.me, then just go to projects. And here you will see all of the projects that I have worked on. I'm looking for a new opportunity in a company where I can provide great value with my skills and knowledge. So if you are a recruiter or someone who wants a new team member who can solve problems, can develop real-world application, feel free to contact me. You can reach out to me by email, LinkedIn or Twitter. All of the links are going to be in the description just for you. Alright, enough of my introduction. Let's get straight into the tutorial. I've already written a blog post about it on my website culescoding.space. You can use this for your future reference. I'll put the link on the description. So first of all, let me give you a basic idea of how we are going to build this typewriting effect. So first we will have a h1 tag, and inside the h1 tag we will put this static text IMA. Then we will add this typewriting effect with JavaScript. So first we will take a word, for instance developer, then we will take each of the character from the start and put them in a span tag with a class of char. So first we will take the character D, put them in a span tag, then E, then again put them in a span tag. And as we create a span tag, we will also put them as a children inside the h1 tag. And we will keep adding the span tags with the character until we completed the whole word, and this will give us the typewriting effect. And after finishing a word, we will wait for a second, and then we will start removing the word, and we will start removing from the last character. So we will keep deleting the span tags from the last, and that will remove the whole word. And after removing the whole word, we will pick a new word to add the typewriting effect. So first it was developer, then YouTuber, then blogger. I mean, you can put whatever you want, but I'm gonna choose that 3 text. So that's how we are going to build this typewriting effect. Alright guys, so I have this basic HTML file set up, and it is also linked with style.css and index.js. Both of the files are empty. Inside the body tag, we will have a h1 with a class of text, and it will contain the text I am a. And then we will put the span tags using JavaScript. But for demonstration, I'm going to add it manually. So it will have a span tag with a class of char. So the first character will be D because I'm going to add dev. Then I will copy this 2 more times. And then it will have E, then V. So I am a dev. So that's it for the HTML. Let's go to style.css to style the web page. As you can see that I'm using a custom font. I'm using a font called Cuisine from Google Font. So I'm gonna add the import link here from Google Font. So this is the link. So let's reset the browser default styles. So padding, margin will be 0, and box sizing will be border box. Then we need to select the body, HTML, and we need to make font size to 62.5%, and it makes 1 rem equals to 10 pixels so that we can work with rem much more easily. And then we need to select the body tag. Now let's change the font family, and the font family will be Cuisine. And fallback font will be monospace, and let's give it a min height so that by default it takes the whole screen. So 100 view height. And I need to make the text at the center of the screen, both horizontally and vertically. So I'm gonna use CSS grid for that. So display grid, then place items will be center. Now place items is a shorthand property for justify items and align items. So you can see the text is now at the center. Now I'm gonna create a CSS variable. So root, and the variable name will be text color, and I'm just gonna store white. Now the text color, I mean the color for the h1 tag, which is storing the IMA part, and this color is white, and the blinking cursor that you are seeing will also have the same color. So this text and the blinking cursor will have same color, so that's why I'm storing it in a CSS variable. So now let's select the h1 tag with the class of text. Now let's change the font size to 4 rem. Display inline block, then letter spacing 0.2 rem. And also let's change the font color, which is stored in a variable, value is white. So we also need to change the background color. So background color of body will be black, and the font color of text, so color, will be var dash dash text color. And now let's add the cursor effect. We need to use border for that. So border right will be 1 rem, solid, and the color will be the text color variable. So var dash dash text color. And now we need to animate the cursor, so we're going to use keyframe for that. So keyframes, and the keyframe name will be blink. Blink. And at 50% we want to change the border color from the white color to transparent color, so this will have the blinking effect. So at 50% border color will be transparent. Now let's add the animation property. Animation, pass the animation name, which is blink. We want it in 0.5 second. Animation type will be step end. It will run infinitely, so infinite, and it will run in alternate direction. And you can see that we have this blinking effect. Now let's select the span text with a class of char. So char, and I'm just gonna change the font color to orange. Okay, so that's it for the CSS style. Actually, I'm just gonna make the web page a little bit responsive. So I'm just gonna paste all of the media query code, and our web page should be responsive. So let's test it out. And you can see that our web page is looking better on every single screen size. So our web page is responsive, and we are done with the CSS part. Now let's do the main part, which is the JavaScript side. Now first of all, I want to get the text element. So const text element will be document.querySelector, and it has a class of text. And now we need the words. So const words, it will be an array of strings, so I'm just gonna paste them here. And these words will have the typewriting effect, and we need to map it over. But we need to add a full stop at the end of each word. So we are going to map over this array. So map, we're going to take the word, and we will add a full stop with our current word. And you know that map returns us a new array, so our words will contain a new array of words that has a full stop at the end. So let's console log the words. We don't see anything. Let's go to HTML. Oops, I didn't added the script tag, sorry. Script. We need a source, which will be index.js. And you can see an array has been printed out on the console, which has developer, YouTuber, and blogger. And at the end, we have the full stops. And now we need to add some global variables. Now you might say that global variables are bad. Well, actually they are, but for this dummy project, that's fine. So we need to keep track of few things. We need to keep track of the current word index. I mean, which word is having the typewriting effect currently. So is the developer word is having the effect or the YouTuber word? So we need to keep track of that. And we also need to keep track of the which character we are adding. So let's create the variables. So let word index will be 0. Then let char index will be 0. And we also need to keep track of should we remove a character or should we add a character. This will decide what type of operation should we do. Should we add a character or should we remove a character? So let adding chars will be true. And like I've told you, after completing the word, we will have to wait for 1.5 seconds. So we will create a variable that will tell should we wait or should we not wait. So let should wait will be false. And we also need to get the current word. So let current word will be words with word index. Okay, so these are the variables we need. And now we need to create some functions. So first function I will create is the add char function, which will add a character to the h1 tag. So const add char. So first of all, we will get the current character of the current word. So let current char will be current word with char index. And we will create a new span tag. So const char document dot create element. Dot create element. We will create a span tag. Now the text will be current char. So span, not span, char dot inner text will be equals to current char. And we will also add a class name. So char dot class name dot add, and it will be char. And then we will append the char inside the text element. So text element dot append child char. And after adding the character, we need to increment the char index. So char index plus plus. And if the current index is ever equals to the length of the word, that means we have completed the whole word. So we should not add any new character. Now it's time for removing a character. So if char index is ever equals to words, sorry, not words, current word dot length, then we will decrement the char index. So char index minus minus, and this will make the char index on the last character of our string, I mean the current word. Then we will make the adding chars variable to false. So adding chars will be equals to false. And just because we have completed the whole word, we should wait. So should wait variable will be equals to true. And now we can test the add char functionality. So let's go to index.html first, and we will delete this span tags. And another thing that is, we need a space between the character A and our typewriting word. So we need to use a HTML entity for that. Now you might say that why don't I use just a space here? Well, if I now format the code, you can see that Prettier has just removed the extra space. So we need to add a HTML entity for that. And that HTML entity is and nb sp, then semicolon. So this part, this entity part, will just add an extra space after the character A. Okay, so you can see that there's a little bit of space after the character A. Now let's call the add char function here to see if it works or not. Char.classname.add is not a function. Oops, it's not class name, it should be class list. So class list. So now let's call the add char function again. And you can see D has been added. And we keep adding the words. And you can see that the developer word is now finished. Let's call this again. And you can see the dot has been added again because we have decremented the char index when it's reached the end. Our add char functionality is working. Now we need to handle the remove char functionality. So let's create a function, const remove char. So let's get the last children, which is the last character of the word. So const char will be text element dot last element child, and we need to remove that. So text element dot remove child, and we will pass the char, and after that we will decrement the char index. So char index minus minus. But if the char index ever gets less than 0, that means we have removed the whole word. And that time we need to change our word index. We need to keep work on the next word. So if char index ever becomes less than 0, we need to increment the char index. So if it becomes -1, we need to reset to 0. So char index plus plus, and adding chars will be equals to true, because now we need to add character from the next word, and we need to update our current word. So I'm going to create a function at the top. So const update current word, and we will increment the word index. But if the word index ever becomes the words.length, that means we have completed every word and we have to reset the word index to 0. So if word index equals to words.length, then word index will be equals to 0. And finally, we need to reset the current word variable. So current word will be equals to words word index. And then in the remove char function, inside the if condition, we need to call the update current word function. Alright, so now let's test the remove char function. So first we need to add character, so add char. So now let's call the remove char function. And you can see V has been removed, E has been removed, and also D has been removed. So remove char function is also working. And now we need the ultimate function, which is the run typewriter function, which will actually do the typewriting effect. So const run typewriter. Now I'm going to create a variable called const operation, and this variable will store the function that should be run, and that will determine the adding chars variable. So if adding chars variable is true, then the operation will be add char function, else it will be remove char function. So I'm going to use a ternary operator. And ternary operator, in case if you don't know, is just a one-line if statement. So first we need to add the condition, which is adding chars. If adding chars is true, and with the question mark, we have ended the condition. So if adding chars is true, we need to return add char function. Else, and this colon determines the else statement. So if adding chars is false, we want remove char function. And then we will call the operation. So let's run the run typewriter function, run typewriter. And you can see characters are being added. Let's keep adding. Okay, so we have added the whole developer word. So let's run it again. Okay, so you can see it is now removing the word. Let's keep removing. So the whole developer word is removed. And now we should not add the developer word. We should add the, let's see, we should add the YouTuber word. So let's run it again. See? It's working. Now we have the YouTuber word. So the run typewriter function is working. So we need to create some kind of loop to have this typewriting effect. So inside the run typewriter function, we need to call the run typewriter function again. And this is what we call recursion. You don't have to worry much about that. Basically, this function, the run typewriter function, will call itself again, and that will create our loop. But I'm gonna call the run typewriter function inside a set timeout, because when we will add or remove our character, we need some delay to make it look good. If we don't use any delay, it will look awkward. So we are going to use set timeout for that. And our callback function will be the operation. Sorry, not the operation, will be run typewriter function. And for the timeout, I'm gonna use a variable for that. So timeout. Now the timeout value will depend on the operation that we are doing. So let's create a variable, timeout. Now if we are adding a new character, then we want to delay for 200 milliseconds, or you can say 0.2 second. So if adding chars is true, then value will be 200. Else, that means we are removing a character, we need 100 or 0.1 second. But if we are completed the whole word, then we need to delay for a second. So if should wait variable is true, then we need to change the timeout value. So if should wait value is true, then timeout will be equals to 1000 for 1 second, and should wait value will be false. Okay, so let's test this code. So I'm gonna call the run typewriter function here. And you can see the typewriting effect and also the delay when we finish the whole word. So our run typewriter function is working. So when we will first load the page, we should have that effect. So we need to call the run typewriter function globally, but we are also going to use another set timeout for that, because when we will load the page, if the typewriting effect started immediately, then it will look awkward. So we want a little bit of delay for that. So again, I'm gonna copy this line and paste it here. This time the timeout will be 1500 for 1.5 second. So when we will first load the page, it will wait for 1.5 second, then it will call the run typewriter function, and then we will have the typewriting effect. So let's save the file, and our code should work fine. See the delay when you first loaded the page, and our typewriting effect is working really fine. So here is our final product, this typewriting effect, and our project is done. Alright, so if you are still watching this video, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. If the video has been helpful for you, at least you have learned something new from this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. If you have any question, please comment down below. In the next video, we're going to learn about top 10 array methods to learn to become a pro JavaScript developer. We will talk about higher order methods, iterative functions, like for each, map, and so on. So if you are interested, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you'll get notified when I will upload the video. And if you want to see more daily tips and tricks to write better and clean code, you can follow me on social medias like LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram as thatanjan. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.